right. Oh yeah,
That's
we
not
got all
even.
sorts of stuff here. We got the Steelers throwbacks.
Oh, those are the horrible ones.
Those
Those
are
absolutely
horrible
horrible.
ones, yes. But then we had what the Eagles had a crazy throwback too, and I think the Pack. Oh yeah, here's the one. We see.
This Giants jersey looks like a hockey jersey. I don't even know. It doesn't look like it's. Oh
That
yeah.
Eagles
Oh
throwback is
oh
amazing.
oh.
Let me find the Bears one because the Bears one is terrible. But I had like a weird affinity for it. Like I'm like, it looks awful, but I like it.
1933. What is that?
I don't know. It's a crazy throwback with these weird vertical stripes and stuff.
The thing is absolutely
Oh,
horrible.
agreed. But I like it because it's so bad.
Oh my
Like the
god.
Packers had this one, and Aaron Rodgers looks thrilled to be wearing it. Look at that look. It's got that circle with a number on the inside. It almost like it's supposed to be like a superhero emblem or something, but it's not.
It seems like a lot of teams was using that blue and gold.
Yeah, it probably had to do with like the only way they could get like the dyes to color the fabrics. It's all they could get was blue and gold. These Giants ones, though, man, I just think it's gross that they use Saquon Barkley's image.
I didn't like that either.
But I
I
like that.
did.
That
And
weird. It's got like
I'm
a
gonna
rugby flavor to it.
yes, I'm gonna tell you the problem though is why the gold pants?
I don't know, but I like it
Why?
too.
And the socks?
I like.
Like they didn't have to go too. Of course, that is just all fan made, but still, the socks are too
Man,
much,
I would
and the gold pants
if
are
I
not
were a
cool.
Giants fan, I would get one of those in a hurry.
No, no.
Whoever
Oh,
their first round pick is this year, Drake May, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna rock it.
will not be Drake May. Will not be.
Oh, we have Giants things to talk about.
Do we?
Yeah, we got one. Well, so the Giant. Do we want to talk about all the buzz about the Giants? The only thing I see about Giants is them trading up.
I keep seeing that. I think who was it that Schefter said? I think it was that said
Yeah,
he thinks the Giants are trading up.
yeah.
That's not. That's not. That's not happening.
So everybody's saying that. I saw it said that if the draft were today, the Commanders and the Patriots would both take their picks at 2 and 3. But
Mhm.
everybody thinks that the Patriots are most willing to move out of 3, and it's going to be a race between the Giants, the Vikings, and the Broncos to get 3.
The Broncos, I don't think have enough to get to three unless you're giving up Patrick Surtain.
Which I think is part of like the understood. I
But you gotta hope that they want him. Like it is, I know he's a Pro Bowl cornerback, but you have to say, do we want him?
so
Like it just
the Broncos are at 12.
yes.
Okay, when I move up to 3, I saw somebody propose this trade, and they're like, "Who says no?" I'm like, I think the Broncos would say no because it was 12, like a later pick in this draft, like a third rounder. Next year, Cortland Sutton and Sertan to move to 3.
Why would why why would the Broncos do that? But to move to three, that's too much.
Yeah,
It doesn't even make
I
sense.
don't know.
Like some of these trades are getting out of control. They're just putting them in computers in Madden and seeing if if the
Everybody's just
computer will accept it.
yeah. They're
Will
doing
you accept this trade?
the PFF, mock draft simulator. Like, well, they took it on PFF, so it counts, right? Like, nobody's gonna
No,
trade those things,
no.
right? But like,
What
if you're the
one though?
Patriots, why wouldn't you take that?
Because I don't want your trash.
It, sir,
Like
I don't. Sertan and Cortland Sutton are not trash.
they would. I'll tell you who wasn't the problem with the Broncos. It wasn't Russell Wilson. So if it's not
And it
Russell Wilson,
wasn't.
it's everyone else. It's everyone
I guarantee it
else,
wasn't Cortland Sutton
including
because
Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton had one of the craziest catches last year. Remember that where he's like,
Listen, he
he
probably
caught the
did
bunch.
not have 600 yards.
He,
He probably might have
I think he
600.
only had about 800, but like Russ didn't have a ton to begin with. Like
He
they
did.
got rid of Jerry Judy, good riddance, right?
Uh-huh.
Cortland Sutton has been their most dependable, reliable receiver. He's not like a true number one. He's not a Justin
I don't want
Jefferson,
your trash.
but he's good. He's a good
he's
receiver.
not addressing this.
He'd be the number one receiver on the Giants today.
He
Yes,
is barely a Darius Slayton.
he would
is.
be
I'm
the
not,
number
not
one receiver on the
doing
Giants
that.
today.
We're not doing that. We're not doing
Guaranteed.
that because he would
And
not.
Patrick
He would
Surtain
not.
is a two-time
Would
Pro Bowler
not.
in 3 seasons. These things are not trash. Those are
That's fine.
valuable
That
pieces.
is. I don't. If they're so valuable, you keep them. How about that?
I agree.
How about that, Broncos?
I agree.
How about that, Broncos? You keep them.
If
But
the
guess
Broncos
what?
are being that
You don't
aggressive
want
for
them.
Drake May, oh God, like it makes me not want Drake May now. It makes me not like because if the Broncos are that aggressive for him, because
There's no way they are. No one is.
don't be surprised, my man. Don't be surprised. It's
I
going
am-
to happen.
It's going to go chalk this draft. It is going chalk
It
for
will.
all the trades that everyone has said. It is going chalk.
It never goes chalk though. The draft never goes chalk. Somebody always takes something strange, literally with the last name of Strange, like in the first round. It's like, oh, I had them projected as a 3rd rounder. It happens all the time, and there's always crazy movement. There's crazy movement last year.
The crazy movement last year happened pre-draft.
There's still crazy movement during the draft too.
Crazy movement or
Well,
just
not
I don't
giving up
think
your
it was
entire
that
team 9-1, but yeah, there was still movement during the draft. There's always trades.
most of the stuff that we're going to yes, there's always trades. There's always going to be trades,
Mhm.
right? But most of the heavy lifting, the moving into the top 3 is rarely happening draft night anymore.
So here's my thing. Moving up to 1 for sure makes sense. You do it as early as you can because you know who's on the board at 1. Everybody,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
You're not moving up to 3 unless your guy that you want is at 3. And the only way to know that your guy that you want is at 3 is to wait till it gets to 3. Nobody is doing that San Francisco shit again.
I was about to
Ever.
say San Francisco did it.
No one's going to ever
That's-
do that again because everybody knows that they are the luckiest people on the face of the earth that Brock Purdy turned into like a legitimate NFL quarterback.
Well, why wouldn't you go to 3?
Because you don't know who's going to be there.
Especially 3, right? Because you don't know who's going to be there, but you also know that the highest position that you possibly could get is 3. We are almost assured that we're 99% sure that the Bears are taking their pick.
Oh,
They're not
it's
trading
100%
down.
it's Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So number 2 though
But-
is the mystery.
But we're no, I don't think number 2 is a mystery either. Washington has not even given us the hint that they're possibly trading out of that position.
But they haven't given the hint. Nobody knows who it is. Everybody's just throwing out names.
They don't know who it is. You don't know who it is.
So then
but,
you're not going to move to 3 until you see what
but
Washington
if you
does.
but you got to jump. You got to jump.
Yeah,
you know
but
other people
why?
might want to.
So
Because
let's say this.
If you're the Patriots, you got to jump because you know there's too many people ahead of you that can possibly want quarterbacks. You know that, right? Patriots would be one of them. So if you can get to 3, you get to 3.
Yeah.
The Giants, if you believe the Giants, and if you believe the Vikings, right? So if you're the Broncos, you have to make a move to 3.
But if
Like,
you're the Broncos,
and you do that before
but you're
anyone
not gonna,
else.
So if that is what you're giving up, which is your Pro Bowl cornerback and your most reliable wide receiver, plus this year's first, next year's first, and another day 2 pick, you want your guy. And let's say the Broncos are have their board. They're like, well, we can't get Caleb, right?
Uh-huh.
And we want Drake May. This is our guy. This is the.
But there's
Sean
no
Payton
guarantee
guy.
Drake May goes to you.
There's no guarantee Drake May goes to. Washington
But you
may
still
take
need a
Drake.
QB. But you still need a QB.
I understand that.
And you still want a QB.
But if you only want one quarterback,
But it's not one. At 3, you have your choice of multiple, except for 2.
except for what might be the one that you want if it's taken at 2. Why would you jump? Why would you get in line to 3 to only have the person that you want taken at 2?
Because you still have the 3rd choice. Right now,
Yeah,
you don't
but
have.
if it's not
right
what
now,
you
you're
want-
not in the running.
But it's not what you want. You've given up your Pro Bowl
But you-
quarterback and your most reliable wide receiver.
But you are taking like a risk. You're taking a risk by waiting and not doing it.
Well, okay,
Like,
and then you know what happens? You go, well, I guess that's how it goes.
but if you were willing to give up your Pro Bowl quarterback
for
and you
something
were,
specific.
I don't think it's something
I think
specific.
it. Oh, I don't think.
I
they're
don't
just
think
like,
it's something specific.
throw a quarterback at me. We'll take it. I get
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they had
Sean
fucking
Payton is
Russell
definitely
Wilson.
doing.
They had
But they
had a Pro Bowl quarterback, and
But
they
that
said
was
no.
pay. That was money wise. They told him to take a pay cut.
No,
They didn't say we didn't
weren't
want
going
you
to
because
keep
you
that
play.
man for anything. There was if they were worried about the money, they wouldn't be eating $90 million this year.
They had no choice.
They're
They were
eating
gonna eat
$90
that
million,
money.
right? Like that's what they're doing. It's like, we don't need to have a team. Like, and then they're getting rid of the pieces they do have.
They know, especially the GM has got to know the position that they can get to is third.
That's the best they can do. But if your guy isn't there, why would you do it?
And the price goes up the day of the draft.
That's the
price goes
of doing
up.
That's the cost of doing it.
You get to third,
okay,
and then trade down if you don't like it.
Who would do that? You just said you don't want other people's garbage. You get to third, and then your guys are there. Then you're trying to trade out. Then you look even more foolish than the Panthers from last year. There's no human being who does that. No one's good.
I personally think they don't have the assets to move up, but they need to move up.
I know, and
so
that's what
they're using their players as those assets.
Yeah.
So if you're going to utilize that, that means they want to go up. I don't think they want it at 12 where they're at. They have a choice of possibly Bo Nix and Michael Penix. That's it. They want to improve their choices by moving up to third.
So let me say this. Let's say you have $60,000 in your pocket, right? You have $60,000, and you're like, I'm going to go buy a new car. I'm going to go to this car dealership. I know I can't get a brand new Corvette. Doesn't cost $60,000. I know I can't get a brand new whatever Bugatti because it costs way more than that. I know this is the car I want. After tax, titles, and license, it comes out. It's $60,000. You get there, and the last one was just sold before you get there. What the hell's going on with my camera? You're like, well, okay. Well, I have $60,000. Give me that $35,000 car over there. Here's my $60,000. Because that's what you're paying. That's what you at number 3. It's like having $60,000 in your pocket.
But let me ask you a question. Do you need a car?
Yeah.
You need a car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But you have to spend $60,000.
You better go to that dealership with more than just that one option as the one you want.
But you have to spend $60,000. What is going on with my
got 60? I don't know. Weird. It's Gato or something on it.
Yeah, that's the Why is it doing this? Oh. The cord is being Okay. So you have
You're now completely invisible.
No, I'm totally What the hell's going on here?
You done messed yourself up. It was
well, the camera was being I almost said naughty, but it wasn't being naughty. It was just...
Is that what you tell your kid? Oh,
yeah.
now
I'm in video broadcast. I'm all the things that I hate. Okay. But you're not going to go there with your $60,000 and say, okay, I have to spend $60,000 because I'm here in this position with $60,000.
Yeah.
No.
You don't go home without a quarterback. I mean, you don't go home without a car. You need a car.
Yeah, but you're not gonna just spend $60,000 on whatever's there.
You should go there knowing. But if you don't spend the $60,000, there's no car available for you.
I know, but you're not gonna.
There's no car.
But you're not gonna
need a car, and there's no car now. There were some cars.
I know,
but now there are no cars.
You're not okay. So you're not gonna say, well, I drove all the way here. I'm all the way at the number 3 car dealership with $60,000 that I have to spend, like a game show.
Need a car.
You're not going to walk out there with a $35,000 car. You're just not going to do it because you had the one that you wanted.
You need a car, though.
Yeah,
you got the best chance that you got. That $60,000 gave you the chance to buy one of the better cars, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you got there, your top choice was not there.
No.
But you still have an option at one of the better vehicles because if you don't take one of these better vehicles,
it's not the one you want. So
not the one you want, but it's better than the quality of what you were going to get.
You're the guy that's like, you never draft a quarterback. You can't draft a quarterback. That's the dumbest thing you can do. And now you're telling me because you're there, you would just have to take whatever quarterback's handed to you?
If you're willing to give that much
that's why you don't do it until you know the car is there.
by that time, you now got to give up more.
Okay, that's life. That's how the
your
shit
six-
works because that car is in
$60,000
demand.
car costs you 75,000,
Okay.
and guess what? You don't have 75,000
Well, then
to
you
get
don't
that
get
car.
it.
You could have the car 60.
Listen,
Again,
this
you could have
happens
the car
all the
60.
time. You have to
Yes.
deal with the quarterback that you have.
But that's why they do these deals that move up this position before the draft.
So you're willing to cripple your next opportunity to get something you don't want.
They are going to do that.
If
The
it's
Broncos
what
are
they
going
want.
to do.
So okay,
No,
so how about this?
no.
The Giants, let's say the Giants really want a quarterback. They want
They
Drake
better
May.
not. They better not.
Well, let's say they do. Let's say they do. And they're like, well, I better move up there now before the Broncos or the Vikings jump up there. I know it's going to be 3, and to get New England to move out of there, I got to give up quite a bit. I got to give up a lot. And I don't know what the lot is. Let's just say it's more than anyone should be comfortable giving up to move up 3 spots. They move up to 3 spots, and then the quarterback they don't want is there at 3. Then what are you going to do?
That's why you can't make that move by only wanting one guy. You have to make that move. You have to
But that's what the situation is. You can't move.
That you want to have the pick of some of the people. You have to have a few guys on that list that you want because you don't know if the guy that you want is going to be there.
But that's why you don't move until you know your guy is there.
But when you make that move, when that guy is there, it costs you too much.
Okay, that's life. That's how it works.
To me, the strategy is you hope that he's there. If he's not there, you get the guy. You have a number 2 option.
No,
you don't make that move.
If you're going to mortgage the next draft and cripple your team, you got to make sure that you're moving up for the guy that you want.
No, you got to make sure you're going to get the guy that you wanted third. But the guy doesn't have to be one guy. You know what I'm saying? You can have a backup plan. They could like Drake May and they could like J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
That could be the case.
And if they like both of them, do you know one of them is going to be there?
Boy, but
that's what I mean. I'm just saying you got to have a 1 and a 2 option.
If that's the case, if you know that you'll take one of the 2, then that's fine.
You have to think that.
It's not,
if you're going to make that trip.
If you have a guy, because those are 2 very different football players.
They are.
Two totally different systems.
Yeah.
One has the potential to be an NFL quarterback. One
has
is
to
J.J.
ruin your
McCarthy,
franchise.
right? So you have those options. But if you're going to cripple yourself and not knowing if Drake May is going to be there, you can be equally as bad with Zach Wilson as your starting quarterback, and still keep your guys and have your draft pick for next year.
But if they get to 3, their options are not J.J. McCarthy. And they have to still Drake May as an option. It would be Drake May. It would be J.J. McCarthy or Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
It would. You see what I'm saying? By 3, you have options. That's not just whatever's left on the board.
If Jaden Daniels isn't your guy, though, right? So, like, and to me,
if that's not the offense you want to run,
because you had Russell Wilson last year, right? Mm-hmm. Who is the same skill set, just older, right? So clearly, it's Sean Payton. He wants a pocket passer. He wants Drew Brees. He wants whatever that can be, right? He wants somebody that can read the middle of the field, which is not Jaden Daniels. He wants somebody that can make the throws in structure or whatever, which is Drake May. It is not J.J. McCarthy.
Listen, I don't think it's Drake May. Listen, I don't see.
I think Bo Nix is probably the guy that would work best for him, in my opinion. But
then you stay right where you are.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody's saying that the Broncos are the ones that want to move up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they want to move up.
What?
But they want to move up because they know that the Vikings has more to offer than them. So on a draft day, they can put the best offer together. That's why if the Broncos want to move up, they need to do it now.
Yeah. So
they can't put an offer together even on draft day that's going to beat the Broncos
but you just
even
can't
the Giants.
Do it and hope that your guy is there. That's why. And New England knows that. New England's not going to move out of that spot until the day of, and they're not going.
That's why I think it's chalk for New England. That's why I think it's chalk. That's why I don't think anyone's going to move to the 3rd spot. Your best bet is to try to move to 4.
4 or 5, yeah, I think so too.
4 or 5 is probably your best chance, and probably not 4 or 5. I don't see the Chargers do have their quarterback, but they don't. There's a lot that they're missing.
They well,
There's a
and that's why
lot
I
that
think
they're.
5 might be the if you can offer more in this draft. The depth in this draft like kind of falls off a cliff after round 2. The top 100 guys are probably it's well from everything that I've read, it's not the deepest of drafts, right? Like your top 100 guys are even maybe just your top 50 or 60 are probably where it's at. After that, it becomes like a bit of a grab bag. So
I all I can do is go with what they say,
exactly.
and even what they say sometimes I don't think. I think there are very few people who are really looking at the people in those lower drafts.
For sure,
those are the teams that always hit in those lower rounds, right? I think everyone says that they do it, but not everyone does it like the Steelers. Not honestly, the Patriots was hitting in those lower rounds. They were doing better in the lower rounds than they were doing in the higher rounds.
Yeah.
The San Francisco 49ers have hit in those lower rounds. Like Puka Nacua, that's a hit, right? Those are the teams that hit in the lower rounds. I don't trust any of the people that are saying.
That's what I'm saying. But like the depth of the draft is supposedly thinner. That's all I'm saying. Right? Like, I don't know. Like, I know what Dane Brugler tells me when he releases his top 200.
I've done my mock 7th round. I keep seeing the 7. I'm like, 7-round mocks?
Yeah, no thanks.
Are you that well versed in all those players to do a 7-round mock?
They're just going off of PFF scores and need. And that's
and need. Yep, that's it.
And even then, I think when they're doing their, like, 1-round mocks, they're going off of perceived need. Like, if I see one more person mock a cornerback to the Bears at 9, I will flip a table because the Bears are not taking quarterback. They've taken quarterback. They took a cornerback last year. They took 2 cornerbacks last year, and they took 2 cornerbacks the year before. And they just signed a cornerback to a huge contract extension. So they have their cornerbacks are set. If somebody mocks a cornerback at 9, I'm like it makes me laugh because they don't know. I don't even know where that comes from. Like what kind of need they think the Bears have at cornerback. It's probably one of their strengths is their defensive backfield.
I don't know enough. I personally don't know who I would get as the Bears. Like I know the wide receivers. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think that's a position of need for them.
Yeah, like as far as it's more of a future need. But I'm going to tell you what, their wide receiver room is nothing after DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Their wide receiver room is then second year Tyler Scott, who was a bit of a difficulty last year, Velus Jones Jr. in his 3rd year, Dante Pettis, and then
not horrible.
And then but they're all like 4s at best. Like they're not guys you would run.
You have 2 1s.
Yeah, but
working on trying to get 3 1s.
So let's say Keenan Allen gets hurt, which is what he does, right? Then you got nothing. You got DJ Moore.
You have a legit number 1. Why are we saying that?
Then you're worse than you were last year at wide receiver. Because you don't have Darnell Mooney, you don't have you don't have Ecomania St. Brown, who's even though he's not a great receiver, was a good possession receiver. I like that kid. The guy is a good blocker too. He's gone, right? He went to another team. Like you have DJ Moore, and then the rest, are below replacement level.
But you act like that's not a problem for 95%. If we lose our top 2 wide receivers,
I'm not even saying top 2. You lose a receiver, you've got nothing. Like you
have still a legit number 1. You're saying if I lose one number 1, what do I have? Another number.
Yeah,
okay.
I get like, oh, it's not an immediate need, but unless this is the last NFL season ever, which it won't be, Keenan Allen's only a 1 year.
You just sign him then.
He's 33. You're not going to resign. What are you going to resign him for? Like 5 years? No, it's not happening. Like it's not going to happen, right?
Then why get him?
Because he's really good, and you got cap space, and why not?
For a 1-year rental,
you give up a 4th-round pick this year for a 1-year rental to get one of the most productive wide receivers to help bring along your rookie quarterback. Yes, why wouldn't you?
And you already have someone to bring on your rookie quarterback.
Is it good to have 1 good wide receiver or 2 good wide receivers?
I
Which is
get that.
better?
I get that. I guess in 3 would even be
Yes,
even better, 'cause
exactly. If you have quality,
you hear what
my
you said?
my argument
Are you hearing
is
yourself? Are you
if
hearing
you can
yourself?
have the best of things, why not get good players? That's the point of building a team, right?
It
And if
is.
the best
It
player at that spot
is.
is a wide receiver, it does nothing but help your team.
But if you could get the best player at another position of need, which at 9 you still can get one of the best players at their
But to
position.
say wide receiver isn't like a need. A wide receiver is a need for just about every team. Every team needs
Except
weapons.
teams that have 1, 2
I
number
guarantee
one wide
if you went
receivers.
down what people perceive as the needs for teams, wide receiver or tight end, some sort of pass catching component is one of them. And that's the situation. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't get it.
Do you think the Cincinnati Bengals need a wide receiver?
Right now they do. They only
They
have
got
one.
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
T. Higgins isn't
He's
playing.
on the team. He's on the
Well,
team.
he hasn't signed that, and he wants out, right?
He will. He's on the team.
No. Okay.
Right?
And then
That's a 1 and a 2. You got Addison and Jefferson.
Okay, on the Vikings. Yeah, and then what?
Then what is the problem that I can't get over? You have two legit number ones.
But like what I can't get over is the fact that like depth isn't like a thing for some reason. Like
it is depth, but you want super depth. You're trying to get my wide receiver room.
How many wide receivers?
Like
how many wide receivers do you run out on the field every play?
You run 3 to 4.
Minimum 2, sometimes 4. So
sometimes 4.
Would you want the best at all 3? Like if you're running 3 wide receiver sets,
one play. I'd rather have the best linebacker I can possibly find in the draft.
But linebacker isn't a position of need. Linebacker is not even close to being a need for the Bears, and there isn't a linebacker where you shouldn't take a linebacker at 9 anyway.
I'm saying that there are positions of need that the Bears do have.
Yes.
That they could get the best player at that position.
Do you want to know what is listed usually as the Bears' positions of need?
Pass rush.
Currently, it's quarterback, wide receiver, defensive line.
I don't see how the wide receiver is a position of need.
I don't see how it's not. It's always a position of need.
And for the entire league.
Yes.
So you think that wide receiver is a position of need for the Miami Dolphins?
I guarantee if the Miami Dolphins were in a spot where the best player on the board was wide receiver, they'd think about it. That's what the
Cowboys aren't even thinking about
3 of them out there every damn play, and they're all in motion and they're all catching 1,000 yards. That's what they do. That's the offense they run.
The Cowboys aren't even looking for a wide receiver. They have one number one.
I guarantee they are. The Cowboys' list of needs is long and many, and wide receiver is one of them.
It's not even their most crucial.
It might not be the most crucial need, but it's a need. And if you have needs and you have a spot where I think the Bears are in a bit of a luxury where they can truly let me just say, because they have that second pick, they have 2 picks there, right? The first one addresses the hugest need that the team has had for 120 years.
That they created, a need that they created.
No.
They did not need before the trade. Do you think QB was a position of need?
Yes. QB was listed as a position of need for the last 3 damn years, even if they drafted Justin Fields. I'm not even kidding. It's always listed as a position of need for the Bears.
Oh, okay.
Justin Fields. I know we love Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields. The man threw for 2,000 yards last year, right? Bryce Young, who had historically one of the worst rookie years as a quarterback ever, threw for more yards and touchdowns than Justin Fields.
Wait, are you once again we're blaming Justin Fields when we know historically that y'all don't throw the ball? He's still in the top 10. We discussed it.
Yeah, I know. And that's how shitty the Bears have been. And that's why quarterback is always a position of need. The Bears have never, since they had Jay Cutler. Okay, we have Jay Cutler. And then even then, people were so mad at Jay Cutler, it was still a position. We got to get a different quarterback. Jay Cutler is...
You guys made that... You guys make quarterback a position of need when you have a QB.
Yes,
That
but
is not
and
what needs.
the only reason, and we've discussed this ad nauseum, the only reason they're getting Caleb Williams is because they have the one. If they
Because they
weren't
have the
in the
one.
one, they wouldn't be there.
So,
Because
so then QB wasn't a position of need. Y'all made it a position
yes,
of need.
okay, fine,
You
but
made
it's
the position-
resolved because we have two fucking picks.
It is.
Right. So,
It is.
and
It is
one of them
now.
is
That's
one with that pick. So now the Bears
wide
are in a bit of
receiver.
of
Right.
luxury, right?
Correct.
Because they had that second pick. Their deficiencies of last year, some of them were addressed in free agency, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And now they're like, well, it would be nice to have a complimentary edge rusher to go along with Montez Sweat, right? That'd be great. But we have 4 guys on the roster right now that after Montez Sweat came on, excelled at pass rushing. The Bears became a superior pass rushing team to what they were before once Montez Sweat was added to the equation, right? Their other need is a 3 technique, but they drafted a guy last year who came on in the second half of the season once Montez Sweat was added to the team, right? So we don't need to fill that role.
Wait. So at this position, let me get this straight. Technically, at this point in time,
Yes.
the Bears as a team, as a full team, they don't have any needs.
No, that's not what I said.
They're good at pass
That's not
rush.
what I said.
They're good at wide receiver.
Those are still
They
needs.
got the quarterbacks they got the quarterback that they need.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to have. So you're saying that there are no positions.
No, that's
on the
not
Bears
what I'm
team
saying.
that
I'm
they
saying they're at a
need
bit
to
of a
have.
luxury to where it's not like, oh my God, if we don't get this spot, we're doomed. They're at a spot where they can truly take the best player available at positions of perceived need, which would be wide receiver, defensive line, possibly offensive tackle. They have an offensive tackle who's going to his 3rd year, who has played all but 3 games, played every snap of all but 3 games since being a rookie, right? And he's been good and serviceable on the left side. But I'm telling you, if Joe Alt is there, that's a reason to go, do I take Joe Alt? Because that could potentially be a pillar of the offensive line for the next 10 plus years, right? It's not necessarily a need, but it's that's an upgrade. Just like, and I will say this, I don't know if there's a defensive line player that is worth being a top 10 pick, right? So now you're sitting there like, the Bears don't need a tight end, but if they feel that Brock Bowers like adds to that team and becomes an offensive weapon, and that is like the 3rd wide receiver position, I'm all for it because it's just more things to throw at.
Okay. I agree with you. If one of those wide receivers are there at 9, you take them.
It's the one they want, they take them. Yep.
Do you think it's worth, which I've heard you say, moving up to get Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes, if they can move to Marvin. So shoot.
So not only is it it's a luxury to get him, you're willing to move up
Yes.
to get him.
I'm willing to say if the Bears only draft on one day of this draft this year, it's a
solid
success.
draft.
Because if you come out of there,
That's a
if you come out of there
success.
with Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., who are universally believed to be the best and the
two
second
tops.
best player in the draft at 2 insane positions, and you can have them like being together for the rest of their career.
Well, it's going to be for 3 years before before the Bears realize that they picked the wrong quarterback and they have to get another one.
Yeah, I know. It's the Bears. I get it. Yes. But I'm just saying, if you're there and you come away with that, that's a successful draft. You can't, there's no way you can look at that and be like, boy, I wish we had another 4th rounder because all we got was Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft.
It's a solid draft.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you can, if you can move up to 4 or 5 and Marvin Harrison Jr. is there and it costs you some, but you still have that luxury of that extra second from next year from the Panthers still. You got some pieces I feel you can sacrifice draft capital to get that player, Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know how their board shakes out. It might not shake out the same way that I think it shakes out. Like they might not like Neighbors. They might not like Odunze. I have no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. They might love Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers might be considered to them like the number 3 spot on their board. I don't know. Everybody's board's different. Yeah, we won't know until draft day.
Yeah. Like I said, I see chalk. I don't see a lot of trading
We'll
going
see.
on.
I think there'll be some there'll be
There'll
some
be
stuff.
some. There's always
There's
some.
always some
There's
stuff.
always some. But I don't see it happening in the top group. Is what I'm saying. There's always somebody who thinks they can get better value by trading down. I do see that,
Mm-hmm.
and someone will try to trade up, but that usually happens around the 8, 9, and 10, the 8, 9, and 10 group.
Mm-hmm.
They see the way the draft is shaking out. The player that they wanted isn't there.
Yep.
They feel they can get more. They can get more by trading down and not miss a beat. That's where I see some of the movement going to happen between 8, 9, and 10. 1 through 6, it would be because it's going to cause. I do know that there's that quarterback's tax, and that's the part that is going to be problem.
Every year though, every year there's that I can fix
I'm
them.
gonna tell you
I
something.
can fix them.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you something. If I'm the Arizona Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
and if Caleb Williams, J.D. McDaniels, and May go 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Kyler Murray, and I see that the Arizona Cardinals trade down and don't pick Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm done. I'm done.
Yep. So
I have no wide receiver,
I
you
agree.
just let the top wide receiver go on the board, go to someone else.
I agree.
I'm done. We're done with each other.
And here's, yeah, I think if anybody does something totally crazy, it could be the Cardinals. Remember last year they had the third pick. They had the third pick. They traded out of the third pick to the Texans. The Texans took Will Anderson. Then the Cardinals traded back into the top 10 to number 6 to draft Paris Johnson Jr. Like, there's a world where the Cardinals trade out of 4 and then trade up to 6 or trade up to 5 or just do something stupid. Like why not, right? Like they seem to be like they'll do whatever.
Listen, if I am Kyler Murray,
oh yeah, I agree,
and I'm looking at the best wide receiver in the draft on the board, and I'm looking at who I'm throwing the ball to right now,
which is nobody. I don't even know who's on their team.
And you don't get him for me, we are done. You might as well put me on a trade block. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? So to me, it's a no-brainer for them as well.
Hold on,
because you've got your quarterback that you're already paying money to.
I agree.
That's why I originally said Arizona wide receiver.
Oh sure.
Also Chargers wide receiver, but you've officially sold me on the alt.
I don't see him doing wide receiver because they have way too many fixes and needs, and I don't think wide receiver fixes them. So you're telling me that Daniel Arias or Andre Bacasella or Dan Chisena or Caden Davis or this is a Hall of Fame name, Greg Dortch. I love Dortch. Chris Moore, Zach Pascal, Jeff Smith, or Michael Wilson, the second-year guy out of Stanford.
If you don't go and get me one of the 3, I don't care which 3 you like.
Exactly.
I don't care which 3 you like. If you don't get me one of those 3, we're done.
There's and I can't tell if it's just prospect fatigue or whatever, but there's a lot of rumblings that a lot of teams have Neighbors as their number 1 receiver over Marvin Harrison Jr., which is fine.
I'm gonna tell you why. It's the LSU thing.
Yeah.
It
definitely helps.
To me, it's 100% the LSU.
I also saw that Michael Thomas Jr. is shooting up draft boards as we speak. Right, that was like someone talked today. I think it's LSU too. So like if they take Neighbors, which is my preferred pick for them, because then that means the Bears moving up to 5 becomes more of a possibility, right?
The Bears can move up to 5 from 8, from 9.
I think so too. Because I think there's 3 offensive tackles that are top 10 worthy in this draft, and I don't know who Jim Harbaugh prefers. Probably somebody from Michigan if I had to guess. That's just like when you see that thing last week. An unnamed NFL head coach believes the Bears should really be looking at J.J. McCarthy as well. Well, the unnamed head coach is clearly Jim. Is his name Jim Harbaugh? Come on. Nobody's
Hey,
this dumb.
it's got to be someone who knows who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Like I said, that's why I think the biggest unknown to me is the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots is unknown because we've got no history of this group. We don't know what OJ Mayo? No, OJ Mayo is the basketball
OJ
player.
Mayo played with the Grizzlies, I believe.
Yeah, it's not OJ Mayo.
I think went to Arizona too for school. I can't remember where OJ Mayo played.
Yeah.
We can call him OJ Mayo if you want to.
Sure. Mayo. We don't know what he wants. He's a defensive player.
Yes.
He was basically handpicked by Bill Belichick.
Yes.
So in fact, he was the coach in waiting. So he's the defensive guy. We don't know where he might see. Is that the DB from what is his? Well, I forgot his name. Patrick Surtain. Is that Surtain over there?
Yeah.
He might see that and get enticed. We don't know. It would be dumb, 100% dumb on their ends.
I don't think it's dumb.
Unless they don't really trust any of those QBs, which could also be an option.
I think
if you don't trust any of the QBs, then the trade should have probably already happened by now.
Only reason it isn't is because, like you said, the price only goes up on draft day.
It goes up on draft day. It does.
And they're just looking because that Patriots team is more than the third quarterback off the board away from being competitive.
That's true, but you want to give the fan base hope. You don't give them hope with trading down immediately does not garner any hope.
I'll tell you what, the best thing that ever happened to the Bears fan base was making that trade down last year, moving out of one. Like, I'll tell you, it depends on what if you're trading down a spot and picking up a fifth rounder, no, nobody cares. But if they go, let's say they go from 3 to 12 and they do get Patrick Surtain and they do get the Broncos #1 pick next year, and let's say Cortland Sutton is part of that too. Like, then you're like, oh boy, we got nice players, we got some capital. We know we're more than a year away. Yeah, that's hope. That's like
it's a haul, but it's still a rough season. They with no hope. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have hope.
I'll tell you what.
You don't have hope.
The actively cheering against another team so they finish in the top of the top of the
fun.
Brings a lot of enjoyment to your season, particularly when your team is historically bad.
Yeah, week 9 and 10.
Yeah.
But you had to get to week 9 and 10 and watch your team suffer.
And now I'm here.
No,
I'm here. I don't remember what happened. I actually remember what happened week 1. I stopped watching TV for 2 weeks because I didn't want to hear anything about the Packers, right? But it's just like, it is what it is. Like, you don't get here unless you go through that, right? And that's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't know. General manager gets to make a pick without Bill Belichick in his ear.
No, let's talk about that. So Elliot Wolf, I think his name is the de facto GM. They never call him the GM. He's the de facto GM. And when they was being interviewed earlier in the year, it was like, yes, all the football moves go through me. I'm in charge of player personnel, blah, blah, blah. Earlier this week, it was mentioned that Robert Kraft's son, we'll call him Jiminy Kraft because I have no idea what his name is, was actively involved in the decision for pick 3.
That leads to a quarterback. That 100% says quarterback because there's no way that the Jiminy Kraft is scouting everyone to pick.
Let's call him Jiminy Kraft. I don't know who it is. I'm sure he enjoys
watching football on Sundays
like his old man does.
Listen. Let's not just besmirch handies.
Nothing wrong with handies, but I'm sure he likes them more in a public location where there might be cameras. Like the idea of cameras is what makes it even better.
Possible sting operation,
every time you're getting a handy from some unknown massage therapist, there's always that threat of going down.
Get on the ground! Oh,
That's what I needed to hear. Um, is that what they would scream on the bust? Get in there, hands up on the ground, on your
Oh
knees,
no.
scumbag. Um, okay,
But that's it. That's the team. That's the team that I think we don't know about, but I'm still saying chalk. I'm still saying chalk.
all right. I I I gotta share because we're kind of talking about it. I gotta share some. This is my my day of bearsness that was out of control. Right. So Caleb
Oh
Williams
no.
tweets earlier today, "Oh shit, y'all! I just saw Roma Dunze on my flight to Detroit. Big fan." Right. So he's on his
Uh-huh.
way to the draft, and he sees Roma Dunze on his flight. Roma Dunze then tweets, "I'm actually the pilot this morning. Don't worry, I'll get Caleb to Detroit safely. No souls, no souls have perished." Hashtag. Like, oh yes. Then the NFL tweets this: "They've safely landed." Then Tom Pellisario tweets. Let me get to it. This: Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze didn't just take the same flight to Detroit for the draft. I'm told that Dunze recently caught balls from Williams, who also was throwing with Bears wide receivers Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. Chicago owns numbers 1 and 9 pick and hosted Dunze on a visit. So now I am willing to trade it for Dunze as well. Marvin Harrison, you trade up to that 5 to get whichever wide receiver it is that you want. That's the end of my Bears talk right there. They need to come.
It's
Like, if they don't come out with a wide receiver, I get it. That's fine. But if all they come out with is Caleb Williams and a wide receiver, I'm happy.
listen, I think it would be difficult. Your best bet lies with getting whoever's left over between Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. Which I don't know. I Everyone keeps saying Malik Neighbors to the Giants. I prefer. I'm now on the Roma Dunze side. Um, just from the metrics.
Mhm.
Like, let me be honest with you. Like I said, I want someone above 6'1",
I love Roma
6'2".
Dunze. He's like
So
behind him and Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah.
Marvin Harris Jr., like we said, like I heard, is a professional wide receiver.
Yes.
Has been a professional wide receiver for a really long time. Wouldn't mind him. Would not mind him. I know what he's going to do. He is going to be 1,600 yards quietly every
Yeah,
year.
600 yards and 14 touchdowns consistently for the next 15
quietly.
years.
Quietly.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be like, oh, yeah, he's not showboaty. Just
Now,
like his old man.
we got to talk about the Giants real fast because they have a bit of a problem. It's a Darren Waller problem.
Oh, he just got
Him
divorced.
and Kelsey Plum are splitting up. And I was like,
Yes.
Kelsey Plum? Who's Kelsey Plum? And then I had to
WNBA?
Google, and then I remembered she's this person. She's the person that threw the T-shirt like 80 yards into the stands. She's a WNBA player.
Yes.
Look at that arm. And then I saw somebody say, well, Darren Waller, I can't have my wife throw a better ball than my quarterback. Just can't do it. But then, now the speculation is the Giants have had a very difficult time communicating with Darren Waller this offseason, and he is probably going to retire.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that.
What a terrible waste. What a terrible waste.
Sure. It is.
Yeah.
I get it. I got the Giants trying to get him. He was the best pass catcher we could get.
Thought it was a good move.
Do I think our best pass catcher on the team needs to be at the tight end position? No, I do not think that's the case. Do not think that's the case.
Unfortunately, he wasn't even that good. So
he wasn't healthy.
Yeah,
he hasn't been his whole career.
He likes to drop the ball too a lot.
So I'm not. That's fine. That's why the Giants are sitting there going like, yeah, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna pretend like we don't. You're not here. We've got Daniel Bellinger, who was the quarter tight end that we drafted a couple of years ago. He's not super fast. He's decent. I like Daniel Bellinger.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't drop any passes, right? So that's why I like him. He's not the fastest. I don't expect him to break the top off. But he's a good tight end. He blocks well. Cool. I'm fine with them keeping Daniel Bellinger there. If that's what they want to do, I am perfectly fine with that. Sure. And if that means that we don't have to pay Waller. I'm also fine with that as well. So I'll take give me a wide receiver. Let us go with the team. I don't hate our wide receivers. We just don't have a legitimate number one on the team. That's it.
I'll
If we
agree with
had a
that.
legitimate number one, I think our other wide receivers are very complimentary. Very complimentary.
Yeah.
So that is my thought process behind us getting a wide receiver. We lack a true number one, and not a number one in terms of production, but a number one who's going to run every route, is going to or take the top off, is going to be able to jump up and go get it. It's going to be that back shoulder throw to the back in the back of the end zone money for 10 years, right? The way we had Plexico Burrs and Amani Toomer. Like that is and Hakeem Nicks. We've always had that bigger wide
Well, Keem
receiver
Nicks was like
who
a sixth-round pick, though, wasn't he?
he was
Or
yeah,
undrafted
but
free agent or something like that. Yeah.
was he
I
undrafted?
don't
Well, no,
remember.
no, no.
Something like
No,
that.
he was drafted. What's name was definitely undrafted. Victor Cruz,
That's the other guy.
my favorite wide receiver to ever put up in a Giants uniform. But once again, though, he was great, but you still needed to have those big wide receivers on the outside to make that complimentary wide receiver look really, really good.
I
And
agree. And
that's how I feel about our team. I think Jalen Hyatt will look good with the number one. I think Wandale Robinson will look good with the number one. I like our wide receivers. They just know there's no number one. And Darius Slayton asking to be traded, let me know we are looking for a wide receiver. Oh, asking for more money is what he asked for. He didn't ask to be traded, but for the most part, it's the same thing. So, which led me believe that they know that they're looking for a wide receiver.
I'm sure he saw the Darnell Mooney contract and was like, "Wait a minute, I'm just as bad as Darnell Mooney."
He's good.
Yeah, I mean he's all right. Like so,
he's only a one-trick. Plays a one-trick.
let me give you the
though,
perspective of a guy that has a team that was like, "Boy, we just got a bunch of twos and threes. If we only had a number one, and if our strong-armed quarterback with accuracy issues that likes to run could just have have a true number one, those twos and threes can go back into the twos and three spots instead of being in the ones and two spots and then be productive." It just doesn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen at all.
It didn't happen.
But DJ Moore had a great season. DJ Moore had his best
Moore.
professional year, and DJ Moore and Justin Fields were like the most accurate quarterback wide receiver pair in the league last year.
I'm gonna say that has either to do with not getting through your progressions fast enough.
He reads fine. He just doesn't
or
throw.
not being able to get to your reads fast enough.
Yeah, I think it's more of a Justin
'Cause
Fields
Cole-
issue than anything else. But
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Because he got it to Cole Kmet just as well.
Yep.
He just didn't get it to those other wide
Yeah,
receivers,
and-
which means his one read was more. His two read was Cole Kmet.
I'll tell you what. If you watch Justin Fields do his progressions, you'll see him. He drops back 1, 2,
looks like he
3,
doesn't-
4. He gets them
too
all,
slow.
and then he does this, and he never throws it. And you're like, just throw the damn ball. Just throw it. Either throw it
Mhm.
over everybody's head so nobody can catch it, throw it into the dirt, throw it somewhere. Stop taking sacks. That's it. Okay, we have. What did I have? I had one more thing. Oh, I think we talked too much about Caleb Williams. Well, let me just say this one thing here.
We don't talk enough about Caleb Williams. We stopped talking about Caleb Williams 3 weeks ago.
So we're at that point, and it's like the inverse of JJ McCarthy. You never hear anybody talk about JJ McCarthy's football ability. It's always he's a winner. Boy, he just doesn't lose football. He goes out there. He has that instinct, that raw football power. But nobody ever talks about how he can throw or like play the quarterback position. It's always the intangibles.
Raw football power.
And because Caleb Williams is the presumptive number one pick, and he has been that for 2 years now.
2 years.
Yes. People that complain about Caleb Williams complain about the things that are not football related. He painted his nails. He posed in some weird outfit that looked kind of like a dress. He has a pink phone case, shit like that, right? So, he cried on the sidelines, right? Whatever. Don't care.
To his mommy. That was weird.
It was a little bit bizarre, but it is whatever. I
Weird.
don't really give a shit about any of that stuff.
Of all the things you said,
That was the one that upset you
that's
the
the
most.
one
Yeah.
thing that was like,
It was a strange thing to see, but it's like, all right, whatever. So this quote came out today from, who is it? David Fleming. He had spent a lot of time texting various quarterback coaches and blah blah blah, whatever, right? Raw emotion is great, but Caleb's thing, that was ridiculous to me. That threw up major red flags. I will tell you, he scares the shit out of a lot of NFL teams too. You know what teams he scares the shit out of? The ones that have no chance to draft him.
choice of getting drafted him. Who could he? Why would you even talk to other teams about Caleb?
It doesn't make any
Williams
sense. But
that have no chance of drafting
But
him?
here comes the cherry on this Sunday. The book on him is he's just kind of a weird kid. One GM told me it's like if Prince played quarterback.
That might be the best
I
compliment
know.
that someone can get.
That's what I said. I'm like, if this motherfucker is to football what Prince was to music, holy shit. We have a legitimate person that, when it comes down to argument, who's the best guitar player of all time? It could be Prince. There's an argument. Let me show you like thousands of hours of footage of him playing guitar. Like, who was the best pop songwriter for the 80s, from the 80s and the 90s and maybe even the 2000s? Prince.
Did he think that was,
I don't know,
a negative?
I don't know. People are taking it as a negative because they're like, well, Prince is weird
Because he's flamboyant?
Yeah, Prince blouses. Then make you pancakes.
Can he do the job?
Mhm.
Not only can he do the job,
Yeah.
he's one of the best to do the job.
One of the absolute best to do the job.
And I will tell you what. If Caleb Williams is the Prince of football, he will sell. So he will be the face. He would be the face of the NFL.
Yes.
You're talking about someone with that skill and that personality.
Yeah.
He'd be the face.
I know.
Of the NFL.
He would be a pop star. He really would be.
Well, that's the best coverage.
I know. I don't understand it. That's why I wanted to share that, because I thought it was so ridiculous. I'm like, do you even know what you're saying? Like, I don't think that's the burden you think it is. Like,
No. Those hard workers in Chicago don't like them. Some Prince. No, everyone likes Prince.
everyone likes Prince. Chicago loved Dennis Rodman. That guy wore a dress and painted all sorts of nails and.
It has nothing to do with the antics as long as you can back it up with your play.
Yep.
As long as you can back up anything you do with your play, you're good. Especially as long as it's not illegal.
Yes.
Right? As long as you're not doing anything illegal, we don't care. The more flamboyant you are, we're cool with it. We're cool with it.
Yep. Yeah.
As long as, everything was okay with Odell Beckham Jr. until he did the boat ride, until he wasn't able to perform after that boat. Once you can't perform, now we look at every decision you make a little differently. But as long as you're performing, we don't care.
That is always
We
the
don't
rule.
care.
It doesn't matter. As long as you win on Sundays, it don't matter. And as long as it's not illegal, right? As long as you're not out
exactly
running people over in your car or firing guns at people and stuff like that, As long as you're not doing those things,
and sadly, even if you are doing those things and winning, the NFL doesn't care.
It really gets overlooked a lot of the times.
It gets overlooked a lot of times.
Yeah.
We got a lot of bad guys. I don't know them personally, but who've done bad things.
Yes. There are lots of
who
that are in the NFL.
We're going to the Hall of Fame.
Or in the Hall of Fame. Yes.
So going to the Hall of Fame, in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So if you're telling me the best he could do is be flamboyant and score touchdowns, oh my God. Oh my God.
He's emotional and goofy, and he does weird things, and they wins. No one cares. No one cares.
And his teammates love him.
Yeah.
That's all that sometimes I don't get it.
People
Some of
just
the
want to be
people
angry
who
and stuff.
they expect you to be a certain way because you played the quarterback position.
Yep.
So it's weird. It's weird. And I don't think there's a certain way that you have to play it. You don't have to be Peyton Manning. You don't have to be Tom
I think
Brady.
Patrick Mahomes is already like that step in. So let's say let's say that Caleb is Prince, right? Like the flamboyant and weird and does stuff. Uh, I think Patrick Mahomes is that in between Tom Brady and Prince, right? Like it's
Yes.
like that.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
Kind of.
it's kind of weird. Yeah.
And I don't even know if he's weird. If his voice was
Yeah,
different,
if he
he'd
didn't sound like
probably be
Kermit the
just
Frog. Yeah.
he'd probably be just like any
Come
other
on, guys,
quarter.
let's go. Yay!
But yeah, he's got he's not but I think he fits the prototypical quarterback for the most part. He says all the things that you want your quarterback to say. He's not very braggadocious. He's good.
He's very good. Yeah.
Right. So I think that he's that. But oh man, if Caleb Williams was Prince, you might have I'm just picturing him coming to press conference in like a pink boa.
Yeah, that's my first
dark shades and just
a big crazy pimp hat sort of thing from the 70s, right?
He doesn't even have to he could just that outfit and just saying regular words like a quarterback.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to even sound flamboyant. He just has to be like, yeah. We had a great game. But wearing that outfit, oh yeah, no, he could do no wrong.
Nobody had a problem when Fitzmagic did it.
No, exactly.
Nobody has a problem with when like Russell Westbrook wears 18 different mismatching items of clothes and fake glasses
and 7.5 holes.
Yeah, like nobody says anything. They're just like, okay, whatever.
But the thing about it is, it's the quarterback position. He could do that at a wide receiver position.
Oh yeah, it's almost expected of wide receiver.
Even Fitzpatrick, he was wearing Deshaun Jackson's outfit.
True, you're right.
That he was doing with a wide. That was his thing. But it's just somehow they treat the quarterback position differently.
It's weird because they want their quarterback to be like Tom Brady, but if you're not good, they don't want you to be like Tom Brady because Tom Brady's a prick. He's an asshole. Like, you can't be screaming at your teammates on the sideline. You can't be throwing clipboards. You can't pout around like that. But what Tom Brady does, he wins. Oh, he's an emotional leader. He's charging his troops up. When Jay Cutler does it, oh, he hates football. We're just like, well, okay, they did the exact same thing. The only difference is Jay Cutler would probably smoke a cigarette on the sideline. He's like cut from the 60s, right? Yeah. I wanted to tell you that because I thought I didn't share it earlier because I wanted to see your reaction for today. Because I had the exact same reaction. I'm like, I hope he's Prince. Jesus Christ. Oh, you take Morris Day right now. Yep. I'll take it. I'll take the Morris Day of quarterbacks.
It's not bad either. It's a solid placement.
You have a good couple of years. I'll take it. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't. I know what they're trying to do. Sneaky, underhanded things and say things that they know they get in trouble for if they said it outright. That's what they're trying to say, and we know it.
Yes,
people know what you're trying to. Your coded language that you're trying to say. It doesn't.
There's
matter.
been a lot of coded language around Caleb Williams because of the pink phone case, right? Like, that's not how it made.
Yes.
Like just like weird things that just fall straight up into homophobia for a guy.
And not in my game.
Like what's the game that you never played? Like, it's usually people that like never set foot on the football field.
Like I said, that's not, of all the gripes that I have with Caleb Williams. That's not one of them.
Him crying on the sideline that one time, and
that was
the
sideline.
I will say that was a very
unnecessary.
peculiar display of emotion.
It's almost immature.
Yeah,
that's my problem with it. Like who you could, and I'm not saying this anything is toxic masculinity. I could not cry to my mom in an 8th grade basketball game. It just, if you're losing, you're losing. You're having a bad game, you're having a bad game. If you want to cry, I don't care. You ain't got to do it on the sideline with your mom.
Tell you what.
Like, there's something about crying to your mother that just seems a little bit immature.
And here's why here's my only, like, okay, if you're a person that is emotionally charged like that will just cry, right? Like, be so frustrated you cry. I get it. That's cool.
Yes, I get it.
Now, now there, if you're like that, and even people that aren't like that, if you have breakdowns where you just emotionally just dump, who do you do that around? Your trusted people, right? You're not gonna do so.
In an audience of 75,000
But
people.
at that moment, you probably forget because it's your mom, right? Like if you're that way,
Come here, baby.
and it's just
She
like
you were one of those come here babies, and then
it's just
you
like
just
it's just like
just comes
I was
out.
fine, and then you're just like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, honey, it's okay, hon. And it reminds you of being 8, and then you're just like, you just
When you did that when you was 8,
yeah, exactly.
He's probably done that at every level.
Probably it happens, right? Like this is how it is, right? That's but
It's immature to me. That's like I said. That's the part that got me, and I get it. You get every right. You have every right to be emotional. If you put a lot into the game, you're gonna be somewhat emotional. But there's a level-headedness. There's a type of maturity that I want with my emotion. Like I talked about it earlier today. Like I understand AD being upset at the game, but he made the shot and just walked off angrily. You're an adult, man.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying? There's something about that to me that shows a level of immaturity that I don't like.
But
and that's the only.
Yeah, the only thing is everyone's wired differently, and I can't. Like now, I'm be real.
I don't know him from anything. He could be very mature. Yeah. I'm just saying from just the way I look.
Yeah, I'm be real honest. Like I would say like 99% of my life, I've been like that, right? It's like, oh come on, just act like you've been here before, get off the field, and then whatever. Like as I get older, like it's just like I get it. That's cool, right? Like you have a problem, just have it, man. And like and I think if it continues into the next day and the next day and the next day, and then it affects you throughout the week, that's one thing. But if it's just like this is his dump, he's done. I'd rather have him do that than go home and then like punch holes in the wall, right? Like I'd right? Like I'd rather be that situation, So it is what it is.
With age comes emotional maturity, and we've definitely matured and understand that. No, it's okay to do it, and like it is. I'm not saying it. To me though, it was like. Nah, man,
I agree.
This is not. This ain't the time. Because and
that's always my knee jerk too. I'm just like, oh. But you know what? You want to know something else too? When it was like, oh, there was no chance the Bears were drafting Caleb Williams.
It changed when
it helps. It helps. You're like,
that's my quarterback.
I'm maturing emotionally as well as I age. Right? I'm learning new things. I'm learning how to process things that I find
deal
weird.
With it. This possibly might be my quarterback.
It's like once I realized, it's like, you know what?
I have to deal with it.
That's just how he deals with it. He's a strong young man who's a fantastic quarterback.
I'll tell you this. I did not like the Eli Manning pick.
No.
Did not like the Eli Manning pick when it first came out. But that's my quarterback.
I'm going to tell you what.
I got to ride and die with this man, and I immediately became a fan. Like, immediately became a fan. And I had to stick up for him when he did stupid stuff, when the man was throwing 28 interceptions. Listen, it was his teammates.
Hey, I know. And as much grief as I give you about Eli Manning, and if I were a Giants fan, same thing, right? No, because I stuck up for Justin Fields. I stuck up for Mitch Trubisky. I stuck up for Jay Cutler.
Yep.
I stuck up.
I'm doing it for Daniel Jones right now.
I stuck up for Rex Grossman. I stuck up for Eric Kramer.
Randy Orton? No, Randy Orton?
Yeah, Kyle Orton. And Randy Orton too. I stuck up for some of the worst quarterbacks
because they put the jersey on.
Ever play the game, and they happen to be Bears.
They put the
Seems
jersey
like they
on.
all end up being on the Bears. I do it. That's what you do, and that's like
you do.
I didn't want to see Justin Fields go because I wanted him to be the savior, but now that he's gone, I wish him luck and I wish the Steelers well. But it's time to the next kid that puts on the jersey. I gotta cheer for them, and that's how it is.
Yep, that is it. It's how it is. And it's a blind cheer. It's a blind cheer. You find stats that you like.
Yeah.
But think about all the plays on third down when the wind is blowing in the face.
Yes.
He's like 100%.
Yes. Like, so every time that Caleb Williams is taking a snap the day after a full moon, whatever, right? Like,
you have to find that.
yeah. And it just so happens that Caleb Williams has a lot of those sorts of things where you can be conditional. It's like he just and when you strip the conditionals, he's just still really good. So God, please be a good NFL quarterback. Please, 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 please. I thought it would be fun if we did this. If we did a mock draft for as long as we can go, and we alternate picks. I'll pick the odds, you pick the evens, no trades.
All right.
And then we just did it. So we're not trading anything. Oops, I can't see. Start the draft. So that means because you're picking evens, you get to pick the Giants.
Okay.
And it just so happens that you also get to pick the Washingtons.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think you get to pick
the Cowboys,
the Eagles,
the Cowboys, and the Cowboys.
They're all evens. And it just so happens that the odds are the Bears, the Vikings,
the
Bears, the Vikings again, the Packers, and the Lions. Like, I don't know how it happened. It just did.
Okay.
All right. So I'm starting, obviously, the first one is Caleb Williams.
Okay.
So that means
do.
I'm going to pull up not the wide receivers. I'm going to pull up the quarterbacks.
Yep.
We have Drake May, Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy.
Jaden Daniels.
You think it's Jaden Daniels?
I think it's Jaden Daniels.
Well, then I honestly think that if that's the case, it has to be Drake May.
I think this is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison. You see, now it was interesting is you could have taken Malik Neighbors there and left Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Giants.
I could have. But is this what I think is going to happen or what I want to happen? It's
just your mock draft. I mean, when you get to the
this is my
when
true
you
mock
get to
draft,
the Dallas Cowboys, you can say, okay, pull up the punters, and I'll pick a punter.
No,
right.
This is. I think if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, that's the best wide receiver on the board. That's where they're going.
Right. I've said this for as long as we've been talking about it. Joe Alt is going to the Chargers.
Now here is where I am conflicted. I like Rome Odunze.
Mm-hmm.
I like Rome Odunze.
Yes.
What they might like. I'm going Rome. I'm going Rome Odunze strictly on the size thing.
All right. Now, see, this is an interesting one. See, now remember what we were saying: wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. The Atlanta Falcons, for some reason, have no need for a wide receiver, but like almost every team has some sort of pass catcher as a need. I am at the Titans. I believe they're in the business of taking a tackle here.
Oh, not the wide receiver need. That's the top lead on their board. Right?
Well, I think it goes if you notice, always goes quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, then offensive line, then it goes edge, defensive interior. It's always in the same order. It's not necessarily alphabetical or by strength of need.
Okay.
I don't know who this next best tackle is, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
I've seen it. Fantano.
It's Olu Fashanu of Penn State. That's who I'm putting on there for Tennessee.
Okay.
Now,
I don't understand. I guess they have London and Pitts, so they don't need a wide receiver.
Darnell Mooney. They have They have a lot of offensive weapons.
Give me the best edge rusher in the draft.
So now there's a few interesting choices. These are the three: Latu, Dallas Turner, and Jared Verse.
Give me Dallas Turner.
Yeah, Latu.
Alabama played against some good players. Yeah, give me.
And here's the thing about Latu, is he is very well. He's like, people call him like the best pure rusher in this, and he comes from a rugby background as well. The thing about him is, 2 years ago he was medically retired from football for a spinal cord injury. He had to have like discs fused or something like that.
Mm.
I don't know. That to me, it's like if you can avoid injury history like that, you do. I don't care how good. Like, yeah, he's been cleared to
How good the
play and he
doctors
had a really
are.
great season, but man, it's just like to me, it's just like asking for trouble. Now, here's an interesting situation. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Neighbors is the guy that the
Is
Bears
there
want.
the Bears want?
I think
Nope.
the Bears want in order Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze, and then maybe Thomas Jr. or even Adonai Mitchell, and I'm not a big fan of that, but I think that might be the case. Um, I think if this is a situation, if the two receivers are gone and Joe Alt is gone, and trading out isn't an option, I don't think they have any interest in trading. I think there's two choices. It's either Brock Bowers
Mm-hmm.
or it is Byron Murphy the second.
The defensive tackle out of
Yeah,
Texas.
the,
Yep.
the three tech, and I think that that's what it is. It's
Mm.
not sexy. I mean, it is a sexy pick. That's a sexy player, but it's not.
He's the best.
It's
Yeah,
not
one
wide
of the best
receiver
defense
sexy.
tackles in.
So I'm taking Byron Murphy. You get the Jets.
Yeah, I don't know if they want Malik Neighbors in this spot. Um,
They got some offensive line help, but they're all older, like 30 plus.
oh man, I think they want a safety, but it's too early for
Yeah,
safety.
it's value at
Way too
safety
early
isn't
for
there.
safety. Way too early for safety. If Neighbors is there,
Now they do say this Cooper DeJean here or DeJean, whatever, from Iowa will probably play a safety position in the NFL. And he's a
I'll go Brock. I'll go Brock. Who's their tight end on the
I
team?
don't know.
Who's the tight end on?
But if Brock Bowers is this like omni weapon, and the Jets have gone out and said good things about him, which is probably a smokescreen.
because they have a number one. Now they can't have too many. Maybe they go Malik Neighbors because they've got Rogers there. Um, but they have weapons.
They're kind of all in. They have to take advantages.
They
They have to take advantage of Aaron Rodgers pronto. So you want
then I might then let's Malik. I definitely at this point in time possibly see them trading back, and possibly to the Broncos to try to move up to get the quarterback that they need
yeah.
at this point in time.
Yeah, I think the Broncos would
But
want to jump the Vikings here because JJ.
they would want
If
to
they
jump
want
the
JJ
Vikings
McCarthy,
here.
they're going to want to jump. But we're
Exactly.
doing no trades.
But we're doing no trades. Then they're going to take in this one Malik Neighbors. I'm gonna give them Malik Neighbors. I'm pretty sure they would have a host of calls at this point in time.
I don't think that's a bad move because I really think they only have Aaron Rodgers for a year,
True.
and they have to, and they beefed up their offensive line with older guys.
Mm-hmm.
They got like limited time with them, but that's fine because they only got Aaron Rodgers for a year, maybe two if they do like some
Maybe
extension,
two. Yep.
right? So they have Garrett Wilson. They have what's that? Their running back. Yeah, I think they had.
Brees Hall. Brees
Yeah,
Hall.
they have to get another wide receiver. Now, what's funny here is I could sabotage the Vikings, and I'm going to by taking JJ McCarthy because
but that's a sabotage that they may even do themselves.
that's what they're looking for. Now, we have the interesting Broncos on the board, and that's your pick. They have all sorts of needs.
They have all sorts of needs. Oh,
They need pass catchers. They need offensive line. They need pass rushers.
they need
They
everything.
need a quarterback.
They need everything.
I mean, they have three
Um,
quarterbacks.
the good thing about them is that with no trades, they also have 23, right?
They don't have another pick. The Vikings have 23.
Who do I have? I've got the Broncos. You've got the
Yeah.
You've got the
Yeah, so the Broncos got to do
okay.
something here.
They have to. Oh man.
Which
They probably not gonna want to go that
it's
high.
one of these two right
but
here.
it should be. And if I'm picking it, then if I'm
Probably
picking
this.
the two, it's I would pick Michael Penix Jr., but they would probably pick Bo Nix.
Is that what you're giving him?
That's what I'm giving them.
All right.
I'll tell you who I think now is going to get Michael Penix Jr.
I think it's the Raiders.
I think it's the Raiders with the next
Yeah.
pick. Yep. Yep. That would be crazy. That's 6 quarterbacks in the first round.
I know. Yeah, it is. It's unheard of. Yeah. And 3 straight. 3 straight here and 3 straight here. I don't see that happening.
But this, like I said, this is a no
Trades.
trade.
Nobody's moving around.
No trades.
Because
someone's going to move
one
around.
of these two is going to try to move up to here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just to cock block the other one. And then now the Raiders, I heard the Raiders are trying really, really hard to get up to 2 to get Jaden Daniels. Because
they have 2 picks. They have 2 picks in the first round.
right? No, the Raiders don't.
13. I thought they did.
There's only 3 teams with 2 picks. That's the Bears,
Chargers. The Chargers are
the Bears, the Vikings, and Arizona.
Arizona. Oh, okay.
Right. So Jaden Daniels has history with AP, and so like I don't know where the history comes from, but they're like friends, and Jaden Daniels is.
It'll cost too much.
What's that?
It'll cost too much.
Yeah,
it'll cost too much for them to get them to move.
It would be untenable for them to do it. But if they do it, it would have to be like a Panthers style move, where they just give up.
They gave up everything.
Yeah, they'd have to give up a player and picks.
Washington is in no position to not take that.
Oh, I know.
Pick.
Agreed. 100%.
So
now what if see, but they just got rid of who's the dude they had last year?
Sam Howell.
They got rid of Sam Howell. I was like,
and Heineke.
What if the Raiders gave him Aiden O'Connell and picks? I'm like, but you got rid of Sam Howell though. I mean, who was a better version of Aiden O'Connell. All right.
And this is a totally different offensive coordinator staff. This is
new coach, new everything. Yeah. All right. So you got the Saints.
Oh, so I'm on the clock. Oh, the Saints probably
quarterback
would have loved a wide receiver to drop into. I'm going to go give him a tackle.
That's probably a good move.
I'm going to go give him a tackle.
That
defense is that. Oh yeah. Let's go Troy.
Troy Fontenot from Washington. All right. I had the Colts, their wide receiver, their defensive back. I really have a hard time thinking that it's just going to be so much offense leading up to this. I think Terry and Arnold is a name that I keep hearing a lot. Quinyon Mitchell is another name I hear a lot. But if you were to ask me do I trust a player from Toledo or trust a player from Alabama, I'm going to trust a player from Alabama, so I'm going to go Terry and Arnold. I don't know if it's the right pick, but that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got the Seahawks on the clock. They're one of the few teams that do not have a pass catcher as a need. Guard, edge, linebacker, safety. There's no linebackers that are. It's tough. They could also be in a best player possible. I think Brock Bowers.
Don't they have Julian Love as their safety?
I don't know who their safeties are.
Pro Bowl safety used to be for the Giants.
Oh yeah,
pretty sure that's what they had.
Defensive line, offensive interior. There's a few interior offensive linemen that are high on the board. Jackson Powers Johnson, center. I don't know if they need a center, but another one is Zach Frazier from West Virginia, who can play all 3 interior offensive positions.
Who's an edge? Give him another edge.
We have a few edges. We have Latu and Jared Verse. Chop Robinson's on there.
Oh, that makes sense. It makes sense. UCLA, West Coast boy. Give him Latu.
All right, Latu going there. Then we got the Jags. I'd give them Brock Bowers, but they don't need. They have
his face. Evan Ingram's.
So
that they just signed.
I'm giving them Toledo's Quinyon Mitchell cornerback.
Don't they? No, they don't. And this Brock Bowers. Now I'm giving Bengals Brock Bowers.
That's probably like, boy, that just falls into the Bengals' lap.
Yeah.
We got the Rams. See, they have a quarterback as need, and they have Matt Stafford.
Yeah, he's about retiring
Yeah.
soon. That's it.
They also have a big interior offensive line hole now that was used to be occupied
Defensive
by
line,
Aaron
you mean?
Donald.
Aaron
That's why I'm
Donald.
giving
They're not gonna find. They're not finding Aaron
no,
Donald in
but
this.
I'm
But
giving the super crazy Zerjan Newton from Illinois out to the Rams here.
mm-hmm.
All right, Steelers on the clock. Wide receiver, center, tackle, cornerback.
Going with the first wide receiver of the second group, I am going to actually not give them. That's who I'm giving Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai Mitchell, the
Mm-hmm.
speedster from Texas.
No, that's Xavier Worthy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is the better wide receiver from that they believe is the better wide receiver from Texas.
All right. Dolphins are on the clock. Pass catcher, tight end, guard, tackle, defensive interior. Because I have absolutely no idea about the Dolphins, I give them a tackle. And same situation as before. Do I trust Talisi
Oregon
Fuaga
State.
from Oregon State or J.C. Latham from Alabama? It's got to be Latham from Alabama because I do not know enough about either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what side of the line they need a tackle on. So hopefully it's the right side because I think Latham's the right side guy. Eagles on the clock. See, wide receiver. I mean, look at that. They have A.J. Brown and they have Devontae Smith, and they still have a wide receiver as need on here.
Yeah, it's A.J. Brown's coming up on one of his final years of his contract, right?
Maybe, yeah, something like that.
And I heard somebody say he was thinking about not wanting to be there anymore.
Maybe
because of some beef he's having with them. Because there was some stuff that went on at the end of the season that no one really talked about. But I'm giving them the cornerback. They need help at the DB position badly.
Now, there's a few of them on the board here. Nate Wiggins from Clemson.
Whoever's ranked the highest one. Whoever's the highest.
So
Kool-Aid McKinstry's got a cool name.
Dejean or whatever. Like they're projecting him as a safety. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a guy that used to be like he's going to be a top of the draft cornerback,
Yeah.
but he got hurt. I can't remember if it was an ankle or an ACL or something like that. Plays one of the most difficult ones. I know he's coming off some sort of injury. Did not participate at the combine, but did it as pro day to an extent. And still,
well, even if that guy projects as a safety, I'll take him too because they need help at the safety and what's the name position, cornerback position.
Makes sense to me.
So, yep.
All right, now that gives me Minnesota. Now they got their passer of the future, JJ McCarthy.
Question mark?
They got Justin Jefferson, who they still have not given a contract to, and they have what's his face, Jordan Addison.
Yep.
There's no tight ends worth taking now.
They need defense. You got to give them somebody on defense.
Yeah, I just don't know who. Actually, I think they need a guard. I am going to give him Zach Frazier. This is a guy that I'd love the Bears to get because he plays all three positions on the interior.
Yeah, that's the Cowboys need an offensive lineman. Let's give them that guy Talisi Fuaga.
Yep, Oregon State. See, now here's where I think Jerry Jones would be like, give me what's
Kool-Aid McKinstry sounds like a cool name.
Yeah, but I can picture him being like, he knows better than everybody else, and he's going to take Kieran
somebody from
Amadou or whatever from Yale.
Listen, he loves him some Oklahoma or Razorback. So that Tyler Guyton is
sitting there. Yeah, you never know, but we'll give him Fuaga.
Yeah.
Now we have the Packers. Interesting situation here. They don't ever draft offense in the first round. So they're not going to this time. And it feels like another cornerback.
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
No.
I feel like a Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
They had Clinton Dixon.
They did draft Ha Clinton Dixon, who was also from Alabama. So they're going to take Kool-Aid. You're right. Good call. Now the Bucks, I mean, they won their their conference last year or the division last year, and they have so many needs.
They do.
Just not quarterback and wide receiver.
Yeah, which is weird because you would think that Mike Evans does not have.
He just signed an
He
extension.
signed a 2 year deal. It was a 2 years, only 2 years though.
Yeah.
Um, there's no running back coming out in the
No.
first round, so let's get that out of the way. Oh man, it might still be too early to draft a linebacker.
We got an edge rusher from Florida State, Jared Verse, sitting there. We have a couple of tackles, but they're not really.
Let's give him a home. Let's give him a hometown boy. Let's give him. Let's give him
All
Jared.
right. They're saying Jared Verse can go anywhere between 8 and 32. Like they can't tell. No, because the defense is like the defensive talent. Now I know for a fact this is a team, the Buffalo Bills, that will probably want to get a wide receiver. And there's three of them.
You don't have Buffalo. You have
Oh,
Cardinals.
dang it! You have Buffalo. I have Arizona. They already have a wide receiver.
Uh-huh.
They got one. They got Marvin Harrison Jr.
They get Marvin Harris Jr.
They're in the center guard defensive line. I'm going to give them the other center, Jackson Powers Johnson, who I saw an interview with today, and he seems like a interesting dude.
Yeah, it's Brian Thomas. Just give Brian Thomas to the Bills.
And here he goes to the Bills. Then we have the Lions are on the clock. I think they would go defensive back. Nate Wiggins. Boom. Now you got the Ravens.
I'm actually going to bring the other wide receiver from Texas in the mix, and this one is going to be what's his
Xavier
name?
Worthy?
Xavier Worthy.
Wow.
That's high. That's very high. Never
Yeah, I
mind.
was going to say.
I figured they need someone very fast
Yeah.
on the outside to match with the wide receiver that they got last year. What's his name?
Zay
I can't
Flowers.
think of his name. Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is a
So I
slot
was
guy. They don't have
and they
OBJ
would need.
anymore. They still
Nope.
have Rashad Bateman, who is always hurt. So they really need a wide
That's
receiver.
that's why I'm thinking
What is Troy Frederick?
someone fast on the outside, but that 4-2 moves him up the ranks. I know they may have him at 69. He's gotta be. I said it's. You know what? I'm taking a flyer on him. I'm still giving it to him. Still
Wow.
giving
Yeah,
him.
that'll be there's the big surprise
Speed
of
on
the
the
first round.
outside. Speed on the outside. I'm
Not
giving
even
him
Leggett,
Xavier
because
Worthy.
he's supposed to be really good too.
I'm giving him Xavier Worthy.
The other Xavier. All right. Well, then that leaves me with 49ers. Guard, tackle, cornerback. They only have 3 needs listed here. Well, then I'm going to give them a damn tackle if they need a tackle. I don't know. I don't know. Analysis. Usually it says, oh, wait. Stats. Does it say what side they played from? No. Well, I'll give him Amarius Mims because I don't know anything better. And that's where he goes.
And I'm going wide receiver again, and this time I'm picking your boy,
The McConkey?
McConkey.
Oh, man. Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey going to the Kansas City Chiefs.
And he's just destined to be good now, right? It might not be him. But, man, if he catches the ball, he's better than most everything else that they have. Oh, boy. So this isn't a bad first. Hey, of all the, I look at lots of mocks. This ranks up there as a pretty good one. Caleb, I mean, it's
Chalk. It's chalk.
mostly
I think
chalk,
for the first,
yeah. I think
because we couldn't do the trades.
I think there's a few like I think this stretch of quarterbacks in the run there from McCarthy, Nix.
I don't think
Penix,
it's gonna
no.
happen.
I think Bo Nix
No,
is the quarterback the Broncos would be most successful with.
I think he fits more in the mode that they want. I do still think that Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr., it's too early for them. Because you could, if you were the Raiders or let's say Broncos, you probably can get them lower.
I don't think the Broncos have a second rounder this year.
Without a second rounder, then they're picking a quarter. Then with then without a second rounder, that almost assures me they're going to move up.
That's why they have to keep throwing players in the mix because they don't have the draft capital to move themselves up into the top of the draft. That's why they have to say, "Well, we'll give you our best player that we've had on defense for since
Yeah.
whenever."
It almost means like because in this draft, because we said there was no movement, the Jets would have moved from 10 in this case.
Yeah,
I think you could have paid the Jets to get out of
I don't know. Getting neighbors there though isn't a bad move.
it's not a bad pick, but it's not a pick of need for them. And honestly, if they move down to 12, would neighbors still be there?
Yes. Well, it depends on what the Vikings did. If
Depends on what the Vikings did.
so the Broncos jumped the Vikings to get JJ McCarthy.
Yep, which is what we're assuming that they would do.
Then who knows what the Vikings would do there? Sulk, I guess. They would
Yep.
try.
Sulk.
I don't know who they would take.
Penix.
I don't know. I don't know what they do. If
Because they have a pick. The Vikings
they had the
do have a
luxury
pick
of
at
having
23.
23, so you can probably get Penix at 23. Maybe.
If the Raiders don't decide that they
Yeah.
want him, which is what we have in this draft. But I think that if we see neighbors at 10, I don't think the Jets pick them. I think the Jets trade out of that spot. They would have to get a call from the Broncos the Broncos in my opinion, because the Broncos at this point would feel more comfortable moving up to 10 because it would cost them less than what it would have cost them to move up to 4 or 5.
Then I would hope that the Broncos would call the Bears. Because I think the Bears can get Byron Murphy at 12.
They could.
And hope that they give him something.
Because you got to understand, if the Bears are not happy, if Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze are their guys, and they're not happy with neighbors, they may give someone else a call.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a perfect trade down spot for them.
Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks that if Neighbors is there and Neighbors isn't on the Bears board, like he might be the number one on the Bears board. I have no idea, but let's say he isn't. Let's say Neighbors is like their 5th favorite wide receiver. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could totally see teams moving up for Neighbors. The only problem is if I'm the Bears, I don't want to fall past like 15 at the most. I think the most. And the Colts are a team that would move up, I think, for Neighbors. But I don't know. We'll see. It's all a few days away. Just a few days away.
But I won't be watching because the Knicks play that day.
I will be watching. Oh, God. The kids have something at school that night. That gets done at 7. So... it's just like an open house sort of thing, so I don't have to stay for the whole thing.
Between that, the Knicks playing, and I think I have the podcast with the Dungeons and Dragons on Thursday. That's going to be difficult. While I podcast, I will be watching.
Oh, I know you will be.
That will be on the screen right here.
You probably have the game audio piping in your headphones too.
No, I don't. I can't do that. Gotta listen. So I'm always just watching it. But I will see the doo-doo-doo as I'll probably have that on the phone. But as the draft picks come in,
screens, and they're all different things, and Harlan's eyes are just splitting and looking at all different things.
Yes.
Reacting to the Knicks doing poorly or playing well.
Oh my God! If so help me, the Giants pick a crappy quarterback and the Knicks lose.
No.
Oh.
I will say this about the Knicks though: when I saw what happened, they straight up did Reggie. They Reggie Millered somebody else.
It was.
I'm like,
it
oh
was.
my God!
It was great. It was great.
It only took like 25 years for the redemption to happen, but it happened.
And it did. Somebody was like, "Oh, they fouled him." I was like, "You mean like it happened in 1996? You mean like that?"
If you're there, if you're a Knicks fan, or even just like impartial, like you're watching that, that's exciting shit right there. That's like
John Starks and them was in the audience. There you go. I remember that. I remember that.
Man, I will never forget that Reggie Miller play. I remember watching when it happened. I remember this. I remember all the all the things that happened, and I'll never forget that. It's just like that. Jordan with his little push off in Utah for the game winning shot.
Oh
All the
my
things that
God.
are like, that's a foul that will never get called in any situation. Right?
That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. In that situation, any other time you want the ref to hold his whistle, let the play
Yeah.
on, unless it was something egregious. I always felt that Reggie Miller play was egregious.
Because you're a Knicks fan.
I am. But the push wasn't as bad when I see it. It's the fact that they throw the pass when the guy is going on the way
Yes.
down. It's the timing behind it that makes it look even worse.
Oh God, I'll never forget that. I remember what a dagger it was. But then,
I think that's the finger roll series. That's not just that. Like that the Knicks lose that game. That was game either 1 or 2 in the Garden, and they wound up splitting
mhm.
it. But I still think that series went to 7, and I think that was the Patrick Ewing finger roll miss game 7. But everyone's like, he should have dunked it. I'm like, he finger rolled that from like the free throw line. There was no dunking that. No dunking that. Not from Patrick. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the series. And the Pacers wind up going and they wind up losing to the Bulls in the conference
Yeah.
finals.
The thing I liked about last night though is they got the offensive rebound and kicked.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying. I didn't watch the game. I only saw like that one highlight. But even LeBron's missed 3. Nobody attempted to rebound the ball. And then dude just kind of like trots down the whole length of the.
No one fouls
No one
him.
fouls him. No one.
They had a foul to
No
give.
one even stood in front of him. He just kind of like trotted down at a pace that like felt too casual for 14 seconds left in a tie game in the first game of the playoffs. He just kind of goes down, just like, yep, and then that's it. I mean, come on, do something.
It looked real easy. It looked so easy that I knew the shot was going in when he left his hands.
Yeah, even watching the play, I knew the outcome, so like it wasn't as like
it wasn't a surprise.
You see it happen, you're like, well, yeah, that's going in. Of course, it's going in.
No, like you said, no one touched him. He said at the end of the game, he's like, I jumped pretty high, and I faded pretty far away, and I shot it, and it went in.
And that was like even like I know you say that the shot's open, you gotta take it. And LeBron was open, but when he shot it, you're just like, maybe it didn't feel like a clean, pure shot.
He didn't want to shoot the ball. Yeah. It's a shot that he had to take, but he didn't want to. Meaning, he probably didn't get his hand on the ball correctly. His feet probably never got set because the guy falls and he's like, I've got 10 feet.
Yeah,
I have to shoot this ball, but he wasn't ready. So everything was off. His mechanics wasn't off, but just he didn't probably have the ball the right way. The seams like he wanted it. His footwork wasn't right. It just was a bad shot. But it was a shot he had to take. But like you said, he should have followed up for that rebound, knowing that the shot didn't feel good leaving his hands. Probably
and knowing that
he should have tried to go.
That was guarding him is laying on the ground in front of him. Yes, you have to. You have to make an effort to get in there. Because if you come off the front of the rim, it's coming right back to you.
And anyway, you're probably one of the most athletic guys on the court. Should probably be down there for the rebound.
Yeah,
should probably be down there for the rebound. He still does things that I'm like, you shouldn't do that. Like there's no way. There's no way you could say. And I don't like conspiracy theories. Don't like them. He might be on the juice.
Oh.
He might be on some new juice. Everyone has been saying LeBron's on some new juice that they don't know about. And the only reason why they say that is because what he's doing seems physically impossible. Yes. It seems physically impossible without something to assist him. And that is why we can't quantify it because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's hard because what he does is so like ultra athletic. Playing basketball is different than Barry Bonds being 40 seconds hitting the ball 500 feet, right? You could see Barry Bonds like over the course of a season, his head would expand, and like and like he went from like being a speedster to having tree trunks for arms, and would just stand there and swing, and the ball would like land out into international waters, right? Like he hit the ball so hard, it's like God bless America. But Barry Bonds didn't have to run 90 feet and jump from 10 feet out and dunk, right? He didn't have to do that. He just hit the ball really
No.
hard and really far.
Yes. He has to be an athlete. He's still jumping high, which means he's still landing with immense torque on those legs. And he gets injured. He gets injured more than he used to, which kind of would happen. He's almost 40 years old, right? If not 40. It's ridiculous. That's the one thing I'll give him credit for. But even then, I'm trying to take that credit away from him by blaming it on performance enhancing drugs.
Like,
I don't know if that's true, but it's just like I said. It's just, the reason why they say it is, and I've heard other athletes say, "There's no way he could still be that athletic without it." That's the funny thing that I'm hearing. It. Other athletes are going, no. I work out too. But I can't do. I'm not at his level.
I'm gonna tell you what, like, so let's say he's not doing anything illegal, right?
Yes.
So let's just take that off the table. The guy's a billionaire, right? He has all the money in the world, and his only concern is playing basketball. He can afford to hire everything that he needs around him and pay for anything he needs to keep himself in peak physical condition. And he's LeBron. Like, you don't see him. He's not out like at gambling. He's not smoking cigars on the golf course. He's not Dennis Rodmaning around, right? Like, he's not doing the things that you would think, boy, that would be a detriment to your health, right? He probably sleeps in a cryo chamber. I have no idea what he does. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. So he's probably doing, but I bet you he hurts. I bet you he hurts every day. Like, every joint hurts.
See that, but that's what we want to think.
Yes.
Because you got to think there's no way he can't hurt. I hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't jump. I don't run. I don't run for 40 minutes up and down the court and jump. I hurt. Right? So you want to think he's human like the rest of us.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe he's not. Like, he's definitely human. But I mean, like, you got to think that he's looked pretty much the same way since he was 16, 17. The body he has now is not that much different than the body he had.
It's probably just more.
Some hair he had more hair.
He definitely had more hair.
But he was jacked then. He definitely gained a little bit more weight and lost a little bit of weight. I don't think he carries the weight he carried when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's definitely taking care of his body more. But we want to hope that he's somewhat human. But to the money standpoint, all those athletes have the same money. So they all do, but they all aren't at the same level. And I got to think that they're trying to take care of their body just as much as he's trying to take care of his body.
But they also don't have LeBron James'
the discipline,
genetics in them.
They don't
have his DNA.
That's the
right?
thing.
Like,
that is the thing.
And like, we all know how survival of the fittest works, right? The concepts. And like, his parents may have gotten every recessive gene that exists in his gene pool, and just so happens to create this. And now he's like, maybe he's like the first X-Men. I don't know. Like, he could be, right?
Designed to play basketball.
Yeah.
Just
we don't know. It's like, oh, and because he's the first, we're not like calling him a mutant, or he's not like, we don't think he has a quirk. LeBron James quirk, basketball. Basketball is easy for him, right? Like, we don't have that, right? Like,
we don't have it.
No, but 30, 40, 50 years from now, we'll be like, oh, the quirks started with LeBron James. He was the first one.
The thing about the way he plays, I don't see when he can stop.
Yeah, it's just going to be his own will.
Yeah, this physical deterioration is what usually does it. And he has been able to stave off that for 20 years
Yes.
now, which is absolutely crazy.
It is.
Like it, he's got to give in at some point in time. But is it gonna happen? I understand he might get tired of playing. That may get happen before his body
Yeah.
physically gives out. He could get swept this year, and he's just like, do I want to do it another 82 game season? That's probably what'll happen. Mentally, he'll give out before he physically gives out.
He has played 1,492 games in the NBA, just the regular season NBA, right?
He's played more regularly. Played more postseason games than anyone else as well.
Yes. He's every season he's played at least 50 games except for 2021 when he only played 45. I think he got hurt that year, right? And he missed like the back half of the season.
It was the COVID year. He blamed.
Oh yeah,
that was the year after COVID.
Season. They won the championship.
Yeah.
But that's the only year he's played less than 50, and I guess the only reason he played less than 50 is because they didn't play more than 50.
They didn't have
56, 55, 71 are his last 3 seasons. I mean, he played 71 games this last year.
71 games. He only missed 11. That's ridiculous.
At the age of 39. And the postseason, oh, God, he has played 284 postseason games.
That's 3 seasons. It's almost
3.5.
300. It's 3.5 seasons of basketball after basketball. After his regular season, he's played 3 more seasons.
He's played 21 regular seasons, and then another 3.5 seasons. Oh my God!
In the postseason,
who has a record for most games played?
He does.
Like ever?
He does. I believe so. I believe it's him. He's got the records for most games played. He's got the most games played in the finals, I believe. Maybe he doesn't.
I gotta. There's, you know how you get to the bottom of these things and there's like all of his achievements. There's so many of them. Games.
List of career game played
is
league.
6th all time in career games. Behind.
I got the list.
Wow, Vince Carter's above him.
Yes, Dirk Nowitzki's.
Well, I guess he's gonna gun for that, right? He's got to get Robert Parrish to 16-11.
So if next year he has 82 games played, that would put him over Kareem.
Yes.
But still under Robert Parrish.
He needs 2 more seasons to get over Robert Parrish for most games played.
But Robert Parrish played the same amount of seasons as he did. Both have 21 seasons played. But Robert Parrish apparently never missed games. Apparently that was the thing he never did.
Robert Parrish. No, he did not miss games. 77, 82, 76, 72, 82, 80, 78, 80, 79, 81, 80, 74, 80, 79, 81, 79, 79, 74, 81, 74, and then finally 43. It is in age 43 with Chicago was his last year.
43?
Yes.
1997? Oh my God, he was still playing it. Wait, he won a championship on that team?
He won the championships with Boston. 1, 2,
96, 97?
Oh yeah, he won that one. Yeah, that's right. He was there. He got his ring. Probably got some rings with Boston too, considering he played for
definitely
Boston,
got Boston
from
rings.
80 all the way to 93, 94. He played 14 years in Boston. That's wild.
That is crazy. It's also crazy that Kareem had LeBron's record in less seasons. Had the record in less seasons.
Scoring record?
Yeah. More games played though, but less seasons. This list is kind of crazy when we're looking at it. Kevin Garnett's in the top 8.
Yeah, I would have never guessed
top 10.
That. Like guys like Moses Malone, yeah, he played for like 500 years. Kareem played for a ton. Vince Carter played well longer than he should have. Same thing with Robert Parrish. I didn't think
Michael Jordan's not in the top 50.
Who?
Michael Jordan's not in the top 50. but he's like number 3 in scoring.
Yes.
That's not a crazy stat? He's not in the top 50 in games played, but 3 all time in scoring.
He's number 108 in games played. Same amount of games as James Harden and Marvin Williams.
They're nowhere near. They are nowhere near. And wait, the crazy part is James Harden led the league in scoring, I think, twice, and he's not even close.
Oh, Michael Jordan led the league in scoring like 10 times, though. Hold on. I had to click on Jordan just to find out. Jordan also led the league in minutes played a couple times, too. Let's see. Led the league in scoring. Come on, advertisement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
10 out of a 12, 13-year career?
They're all with the Bulls. 10 times out of 13 years with the Bulls.
You get out of here with your LeBron James GOAT talk. Get out of here.
It's hard because he's just been around for so long, and he just
longevity is a great stat to have.
And he's really good, though. Like really
he's
good.
Been really, really good.
It'd be different if he was just Robert Parrish, right? Nobody's mistaken Robert Parrish for being the greatest of all time, and he played a long time. And he has 4 championships, one with the Bulls.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
But like nobody's mistaking him for that, right? Ever.
No.
Jordan did lead the league in scoring one year with 37 points a game. And finished second in MVP.
Yeah. They said, I've heard people say this, like, yeah, players who played against him. He's like, if Jordan was played in this era, what would you think? And they were like, realistically, I'd have to give him an extra 10 points a game to his average. They was like, so you think he'd average 43? He's like, he'd probably average, if he wanted to, 43 points a game. I was like, what?
Now, I don't know Michael Jordan personally. I just know him from viewing Michael Jordan.
Uh-huh.
If he played in today's game, he wouldn't stop until he was the best 3-point shooter. Because the game's entirely different. He would probably shoot 33 points, 3-pointers a game and make 20 of them. Right? It's just who he is. Like the best Steph Curry 3-point season would be dwarfed by Michael Jordan's like every year.
He'd go out there, see Steph Curry one time, and like, oh,
that's how
I know what I'm
now?
getting next year.
That whole offseason, he'd be just shooting 3-pointers.
Fadeaway 3-pointers. He'd post you up from the 3-point.
He's backing you down at the 3-point line. Fake it to the right, goes to the left, fade away.
Shoulder left, right, fade away, 3-pointer. Like, what? How do we stop that? You can't.
It's hard. It's easy to forget how good he was. But in 87-88, he averaged 35 points a game. Was first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, and was a Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. He did that twice, I think, or 2 or 3 times.
He's only Defensive Player of the Year once. And once? It was that year.
Okay. He led the league in steals a few times.
He led the league in steals 3 different times.
Yeah, a few times. He was an all defensive player a few times as well.
That he 35 points a game, 3 steals a game, 5 rebounds, 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists. This is 87-88. This is before he was like good Jordan, right? Like
no. He was.
But he was
champion
Jordan. Like when they're like, oh,
he wasn't champion Jordan.
He learned how to be a champion, blah blah blah, and like involved. I mean, even the years he learned to be a champion, 31.5 points a game, 30 points a game, 32.6 points a game, 30.4 points a game, 29.6 points a game, and 28.7. Guy was just insane. And those all led the league.
Yeah, LeBron's slowly but surely getting there. I think he's trying to share the load with AD a little bit more. Just, I think, for his body's sake. One, he works really hard to get points. His game has never been smooth enough to effortlessly get points. Right? And not a knock against him. It's just he plays his game different than like I say, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is smooth when he gets his buckets. He looks different. He gets them in different angles. LeBron can, but he just doesn't look as smooth when he gets his bucket. He has to work. It looks like he's working like Giannis works for his buckets, and there's nothing wrong with that. They both score a massive amount of points and cannot be stopped.
Yes.
Right? It's a lot of work when they want to score.
Yeah. Giannis will beat the crap out of you to get his buckets, but he gets them.
He might be playing today. Did he? No, he's not playing today. He said might be coming back soon. Back, what are the games like?
I don't even know.
Did the Rangers win? Pacers beat the Bucks, so that's not good.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are done.
Hey, the Rangers won. Go hockey.
I think that is where we have to end it right there.
Yes.
Recording stopped.